Hey, good morning to you. This is a message for people in my age group. I am 67 years old, and let's say from 50 to and beyond. Okay, the topic is about dementia. All right, and if this disease or brain impairment, vascular impairment, if it's a part of your family genealogy, there are some things that we need to know, okay? First of all, let's go to the definition of dementia. It's a condition characterized by progressive or persistent loss of intellectual functioning, especially now with the impairment of memory. That means you forget, in abstract thinking, and often with personality change resulting from organic disease of the brain. That's the medical definition of dementia. Some of you may have experienced this with family members, parents, grandparents, loved ones, husbands, or wives, okay? But I'm speaking today to the ones who are afraid that might, that you're approaching that age and that's going to happen to you. All right. First of all, I don't dwell in the spirit of fear. And I also did some reading in our culture, Black American culture, how as slaves, unfortunately, that's where a lot of our sicknesses and diseases came from. As slaves, we experienced a lot of trauma and a lot of things we tried to push out of our mind and forget. And it was a safe place to just forget, So, from based on my reading about Black culture, dementia, it came as a result from a lot of trauma and confusion and just things that our ancestors had to endure. And that spirit and that disease was passed on down to the following generations. Okay, I have always watched for that in my everyday life, and I go to my doctor every 3 months, and she runs that test every 3 months, and every 3 months I pass it with flying colors. And I honestly believe the reason being is because I talk to my spirit when I pray, and I command it to remember. And yeah, this is spiritual. I'm going to tell you about the spiritual part. You can do the natural part all you want to. But I speak to my spirit, and I cancel out that spirit of trauma, fear, confusion, and everything else. But I also do other things. I stay around people. I read somewhere where, and this is true because I've seen this happening in everyday life, with most elderly people who live alone, they are more prone to having dementia than a person who's very busy and active and surrounded by a lot of people, and constantly using their communication skills and their cognitive skills. I stay around people. That's why I don't want to retire fully, just staying in my little itsy bitsy apartment doing nothing, being just by myself. I love being around people, whether they're strangers or whatever, and making conversation, and it keeps my brain going. I study, I read, I take classes, I do a lot of things, and I practice a lot of memory skills daily, like counting back from 100. I go 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95. I would do that constantly. Constantly. It's not because I'm afraid, because I'm not. I'm not afraid of that. My mother did not experience it, but unfortunately, my grandparents on her side of the family did, and my favorite auntie, my aunt, experienced it also. But my mother did. She died before she was 70 years old, and she was not exhibiting any of those symptoms. But she had a lot of children, and she stayed busy. She was also a bingo, and she was very social. So I keep a kind of social life, all right? I don't shut myself off to everybody and everything just because life throws you a pitch or two. You keep going. And I love talking, and that's why a lot of times if I'm not talking to you in person, I am talking to you here on social media, because I keep myself surrounded by new activities, new things, new beginnings, and it gives my brain something to look forward to each and every day. And physically, I make myself walk those that long mile every day. I didn't do it yesterday because it was Sunday, and I was a little bit tired. But I make myself do that walk, and And I speak those affirmations into my life, or I take a scripture with me to make sure that I remember that. This is my personal journey. This is what I'm telling you to do. I love living by myself. If I had a husband, he would need his own space, and you know, just give me mine. But I don't cut myself off from the rest of the world. That's not going to happen. I don't do that. I love people too much. And it just gives me an opportunity to learn about different cultures and get to the why of why some people do what they do, so that I can understand the human race a whole lot more and not judge them. So that's it. And it's causes, it says, I read where they ran some tests, and some elderly people, they just lived alone. They stayed in their house and they talked to the TV. During the pandemic, a lot of elderly people showed symptoms of Alzheimer's and dementia because they were living alone and they were shut in by themselves. And I had this conversation with one of my everyday passengers, and we noticed that it was happening real quickly. One elderly little woman I love dearly, two of them as a matter of fact. I haven't seen them in years, but from having communication with their offspring, and said that their parent, that both of these young ladies, well, they're elderly now, where they went into dementia and Alzheimer's, and it happened rapidly because they were alone. Now, you had to talk to somebody. Use your brain and your cognitive skills. And I mean, come on. Don't shut yourself off from the rest of the world. Life's going to throw us some punches, and sometimes we're going to want to go somewhere and be by ourselves. But if you're going to be by yourself, you talk to Jesus. Pray yourself up and get back out there. Don't let it knock you down, because if you live alone, like I do have a son who checks on me constantly. And Lord knows I thank God for him. He doesn't bring drama in my life. Now I have a whole lot of other family members. I raised a lot of women. I'm really not into hanging out with women, because I was raised around a bunch of them. I love y'all, but women bring a lot of drama. But if you don't bring drama in my life, I'm grateful. And my son is always constantly checking. He said, Mom, do this, get your paperwork in order. And we have those open discussions. We have disagreements, but we don't go post everything on Facebook. We sell it right then and now. He's more like me than the rest of mine. I'm just saying, that's it. We understand each other. Have somebody. Make sure you have somebody, even if it's not one of your own blood relatives. Have someone to check on you and help you with your paperwork and take you out. I'm not into gambling, but if you want to go play bingo like my mom did, she had a lot of friends, and she was out there playing bingo up until before she passed away. I saw her that few days before she passed away. She was getting dressed, going to play bingo. She said, Bunch going to pick me up now. That was her outlet. That was it. So find something to do that's going to help you to have something to look forward to. And don't be just shut away from everybody and everything. Don't do that. If you can go to the grocery store. I strike out conversations in the grocery store with strangers. I learned some good recipes too, and get some good laughs. If that's all you got, go for it. If you're not in a church, a traditional church, or a community of fellowship, find a community of fellowship that believes the same thing you believe in and have the same thoughts and ambitions and spiritual inspirations, and become a part of that. But don't shut yourself off. Crossword puzzles are good, but to me, being around people is a whole lot better. God bless you today, and stay prayed up.